Have you had a teacher in any formal sense since Adya?
Mm-mm. Yeah.
What's your experience when you go to see Amma now? Because you resumed going to see Amma, I guess, with your daughter or something.
Yeah. So a year after this occurred with my brother, I went to see Amma, and I had the most beautiful experience with her. I took a picture of my brother with me to have her bless, and she asked her Swami, you know, the big guy,
right? Big Swami.
Big Swami. So she asked Swami what happened to, you know, to my brother, and I told him, and she got this look on her face that truthfully just took about 50% or more away of my grief just by seeing the reflection that she gave me of total dismay, pain. I know, you know, it was just like it was life reflecting back to me how I felt, or the truth of the matter of how tragic it was. So she gave me this reflection on her face.
Yeah.
And just to be met in that way was incredibly powerful.
It's interesting how Amma doesn't just sort of brush things off as, you know, with some kind of philosophical attitude, and she really feels people's grief.
She does. She penetrates everything.
Yeah. I mean, I was just recently, I was sitting just a few feet away from her, and a woman came up who had a broken leg, and she told this whole story to Amma about her husband had abused her, and, you know, all this terrible stuff. And Amma was just like crying, you know, tears coming down her face, and she, you know, just consoling this woman and all. So it's the whole notion that we become sort of aloof in some cosmic la la land. You know? Yeah, exactly. It's dismissed by her example.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I'm so grateful to her and to the experience and experiences that I've had with her.
What is your experience now when you go to see her? This is, you know, this interview is about you, and we're not just going to be talking about Amma, but I'm interested in what, you in a relatively awakened condition, what influence, someone might ask, well, why would you bother to go see Amma now, aside from your daughter's interest? But secondly, for your own purpose, what is the influence or impact or effect on your inner experience or your inner development as a result of that association?
Yeah, well, I don't see her as outside of myself. So going to see her is going to see an aspect of myself that is just like, to me, a huge container.
Yeah. A
huge container of what's possible with the things that she does, what she's capable of, the love and the work that she does and gives to the world. So for me to go see her is just it's just this being meeting that being. And in gratitude, I feel gratitude and love and appreciation, and it's like a yearly pilgrimage that I do with my kids, and last time with my daughter. They love my daughter now because my son's 16, so he has other things to do. But she still really loves going to see Amma, and there's just one little story, an Amma story. So when Gaia, my daughter, was 9, she's going to be 14. We went to go see Amma, and my daughter was acting out a lot to her teachers and acting out a lot to me, doing a very pushing away kind of, and she wasn't contented inside. So we went to go see Amma, and Amma, you know, Gaia's been seeing her since she was in the womb, but Amma took one look at her and and bit her on her cheek pretty hard. And so my daughter walked away and said, Amma bit me, and there were some marks, you know, not hard. And she looked so blissful. And Rick, her attitude completely changed. Her teacher saw all this change in her. She was a new person, and the way that I see it is that Gaia was trying to be the pack leader. She's a very kind of strong leader type of girl. And she was trying to be the pack leader, and she wasn't satisfied with what she was finding in me as her mom or with her teachers. It just wasn't doing the trick, you know, but Amma saw what was needed, you know, and put her, you know, the divine's in charge.
Did what an alpha dog would do to establish pack leadership.
Exactly. So the divine is in charge, not you. And she was, it changed. It changed everything.
That is so interesting. That's an interesting topic that we could talk about is, you know, life lived with the divine in charge, and how things happen that you would never have been able to figure out or determine, okay, I think I'll bite this girl in the cheek, or, you know, whatever. But there's this kind of spontaneity that works out in kind of miraculous ways sometimes.
It's true, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's in charge regardless whether we are aware of it or not. Or whether, even if we think we're getting in its way, it's in charge.
Yeah. Like when I was at the Amma thing in Chicago just now, I noticed the car parked next to me in the lot had its lights on. And so as I was walking back to the hall, I thought, I want to meet the person who owns that car, and so I can tell him about his lights, and now I'm going to just drop this desire and let it just happen if it's meant to happen. So I went into the men's room, and the guy standing next to me at the next urinal was a friend of mine. And I said, hey, do you know anybody who has a Honda Civic with such and such license plates? And he said, that's my car. So he went out and turned off his lights.
That's amazing. Yeah, synchronicity at the urinals. Yeah.
There was another little story. The Swami told this story about this woman in Munich, or some village several hours from Munich, and she was, you know, single mom, no money, somehow scraped, you know, barely enough money for food, somehow scraped, jobless, somehow scraped enough money for train fare to come and see Amma. And she got there and she told Amma her plight through a translator, and Amma said, come back tonight. She said, I can't come back tonight because I'm committed to this train ticket. I'll forfeit it, and I don't have enough money to buy another one. But somehow she just, you know, so the Swami double checked. Amma said, tell her to come back tonight. So she did it. She came back in the evening, and when she came back, there was some guy standing by the couch who was some kind of a businessman who happened to live in her town back there, wherever that town was. And Amma looked at the guy and she said, can you give her a job? And the guy said, yeah, as a matter of fact, I need to hire somebody. So it all worked out. And Amma didn't even know this person or the guy or anything else. It just all somehow clicked together.
Gorgeous, huh? Talk about a big container.